Today, I want to talk about something extremely important for Brazilian research for EB-5 Immigrant Investor Program, the famous visibility. Because many people hear these terms like currency, retrogression, priority date, China backlog, India waiting lines, and honestly, for most Brazilians, this become confused very quickly. So, in this video, I want to explain in a simple language how the EB-5 visibility works, why China and India today face long waiting lines, and why Brazilian currency has a very different situation. First, let's understand what the visibility actually is. Every month, the US Department of State publishes something called the visibility. This visibility is basically control visa availability for immigration category, including os EB-5. In simple words, it works like a waiting lines management system because the United States does not issue unlimited immigration visa every year. There is annual limit. And when the demand from one country become extremely high, waiting lines start to appear. This is where the concept of the retrogression enter to conversation. Retrogression is basically mean the line is become long because more people are applied than the number of visas available for the category. And today, China and India are the biggest example as aside the EB-5. Chinese investor have faced EB-5 waiting lines for many years because demand for China's become enormous over time. India also started experiencing serious pressure in recent years because the number of EB-5 investors increased dramatically. And honestly, this is where many Brazilians become confused because when they hear about Chinese or India waiting lines, they immediately think, so Brazil also has this problem. At least right now, for Brazilian, most EB-5's category are current considered. Current, what does current mean in practice? It's mean visa number are currently available for Brazilian application without a massive country backlog like China or India. In simple word, Brazil today does not have the same long visa pressure seems those countries. But here is something very important. Current does not mean fast approval. And I think many people misunderstand this. Even when Brazil is current, the investors still face USIS processes time, source of fund review, I-526 analysis, project review, possible request for evidence, interview schedule, adjustment status, or consular processing, and overall immigration delays. So currently, only mean visa numbers are available right now for Brazilians. It does not mean green card next month. Now let's talk about a little deeply about why China's Indies is become such important example in EB-5. China was historically the largest EB-5 market in the world. For years, massive number of Chinese investors entered the program. Eventually, demand became much larger than annual visa allocated available for one country. That created a huge waiting line and retrogressing. India later started moving in a similar direction as demand from India's investors increased significantly. And this teach Brazilians something very important. Visibility situation can change over time. Today is current. Tomorrow, if Brazil demand explodes dramatically, the situation could eventually change too. The visibility is dynamic. It's move according to demand and visa available. Another important thing, many Brazilians do not understand the difference between reserved and unreserved EB-5 category. After the Reform and Integrity Act, some EB-5 visas become reserved for categories like a rural project, high employment area, and infrastructure project. Right now, many of these reserved categories remain current for all countries, include Brazil, India, and even China. This has become strategically important because some investors from heavily backlogged countries start to look at the reserve category as a way to potentially reduce waiting times. Another thing, Brazilian should understand is that the visibility affect long-term plan emotionally and financially. Imagine an investor for a country face retrogress, like China and India is a good example. Maybe they already invest hundreds of thousands of dollars, file a petition, prepare a source of fund, but now they still face years waiting in the visa available. That change family's plan completely. School plan change, tax planning change, business strategic change, emotional expectation change. And honestly, this is the reason why many investors today pay close to attention, not only to the project itself, but also the visibility movement. Another important point, retrogress does not necessarily mean the case is denied. Many people panic when they hear that word retrogression, usually mean the line become long because demand exceed available visa numbers. The case may still continue moving through the system, but a final visa availability may slow down depending on the category of the country. Personally, I think the Brazil today are in a relatively favorable B5 position compared to countries like China and India. But also, I think many Brazilians underestimate how quick immigration dynamic can change globally. Immigration law is constantly moving based on the demand, political, visa allocating, process capacity, international interesting, and honestly, this is why EB5 investors should avoid looking at only at a social media promise like easy green card, fast residence, guarantee immigration. The reality is much more complex. The visa bullet itself already proves that immigration demand can reshape the timeline dramatically depending on the country and the category. And one final thing, understanding the visa bullet helps investor become calm and more realistic during the B5 process. Because once you understand how visa is available actually works, you stop to interpret every delay emotionally and start understanding the broader immigration system behind the process. This video is just informational. Always consult your US immigration lawyer for your EB-5 process. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next one. Bye now.